Hey there everyone, Pal here, and welcome back. Today I want to talk about hero stacking in Overwatch. This is a discussion currently going on pretty heavily within the community. It's a pretty divisive subject, and you see about 6 of one, half dozen of the other. It seems to be about 50-50, maybe a little bit more towards the remove it type thing. But I think it's an important thing to discuss because at the same time, I fall on both sides of the conversation. For example, last night, our last 6 matches, or maybe it was 5 matches, the three attacking ones in a row, where we were attacking, 3 of them in a row, we came up against some combination of triple or quadruple turrets, meaning 2 Bastion, 2 Torbjorn, 2 Torbjorn and a Bastion and a Symmetra, 2 Bastions, 1 Torbjorn, and then like a Reinhardt or something. There was at least 3 turrets on the map when we were attacking every single round, 3 assaults in a row, and it just wasn't fun. And that's the key. Like, when I say this, I can already see the comments that if people watch this video, they're gonna come in and be like, get good, use Widowmaker and Hanzo to counter those turrets, and just push through them. And there is some legitimate truth to that statement. These builds I'm talking about can be overcome with the correct amount of team play work, with enough high-skilled snipers working together in conjunction with a healer to keep them up, and a Reinhardt to maybe shield for them, or a Zarya to throw a bubble on them while they step out and snipe the Bastion. You can overcome these. But it's not fun to do. And I think that is the real key to this. Can you break a Temple of Anubis lockdown with 2 Bastions, 2 Torbjorns, and a Symmetra? Yes, it can be done, but it's not fun to do. Can you get into the final point of Hanamura with 3 Bastions covering it? Yes, but it's not fun to do. And that's really where I'm coming at this from. Now, I do see the other side, though, as I've seen groups that are running double Tracer, and it's a lot of fun. Tracer's a great harass. If you put 2 of them on the field, it makes for some really interesting things. You're trying to move a payload, and there's a Tracer blinking around here, blinking around there. It's interesting. It's fun. I've seen groups running double tanks, double Roadhog, and while maybe a little less fun, it's still a fair challenge. It's an overcomeable challenge that doesn't quite break the rules of the game or anything. And then I've seen a lot of everything else in between. And I think that's where, like, it's a complicated issue to discuss, because on one hand, having the hero stacking does bring an extra element to the game. It brings an extra depth when you do team selection. It brings a greater amount of variety to the game that is, I don't want to say light on content. It has 12 maps, basically 3 game modes, 4 depending on how you look at it. But it adds an extra layer of depth there that does, in most circumstances, enhance the game. But it becomes a problem when people know how to exploit it. So I've seen in the week and a half since the game's launched, I've played roughly 200 matches, right around like 198, 195, something like that. I've seen 6 Mei. Was easy to counter. In fact, that video's up on the website, up on YouTube. It was just a blast to blow away. We went right through them. I've seen 6 Reaper. Again, took us by surprise initially, and then we're like, oh, Reaper can't shoot the air. We went 6 Pharah. Well, we went like 4 Pharah. And we just wrecked them. I've seen 5 Tracer and a Lucio. This one was annoying, but it was doable. You didn't just feel frustrated by it. I've seen combinations of like Zarya and Pharah, like 3 Zarya, 3 Pharah, throwing bubbles around the Pharahs so they can just rain rockets down from the sky for 3 seconds unopposed. Again, manageable, a bit annoying. I've seen 5 76s and a Reinhardt. I've seen 5 Reinhardts and a Lucio. I've seen quite a few others. You get the idea. I've seen a lot of combinations. And most of these combinations fall into mildly amusing, slightly frustrating. But then you have the ones I was talking about earlier, the heavy turret ones. And it's not every map, it's not every game mode, but certain maps. Temple of Anubis, the second point. Voskaya Industries, kind of the first point. Hanamura, the second point. Where, actually, Hanamura, the first point, more so than the second point. Where this combination just becomes annoying and frustrating to deal with. And again, going back to last night, we stopped playing, our whole team basically stopped playing probably about an hour earlier than we normally do, simply because it was like 3 in a row, and it's like, I just don't want to deal with this. I'm looking to have fun, and I was even typing in chat like, hey, let's have a gentleman's agreement, we'll not do more than one of each type of turret character. Their team was like, ah, fuck you, and they put 3 bastions down. Like, alright, well, whatever, we're leaving. It's just not fun. Now, the way I see it in a lot of this conversation where people are missing is it doesn't have to be one or the other. Why does it have to be one or the other? Can't they add in, and this would be my simple solution for this. There's some more complicated solutions. For example, you could rebalance it. So, for example, you could take Bastion and make it that his turret form does 10% less damage to Reinhardt's shield. If you do that, and Reinhardt tries pushing, one Bastion is only feeling a 10% reduction. That's not a big reduction. But if a team has 3 Bastions set up, well, now you can actually use a strategy of several Reinhardts pushing and tanking this, because now you've reduced that overall turret DPS by 30%. And that's pretty substantial. So it would be a minor nerf to Bastion in single form against just Reinhardt's shield, but in a large cluster, it would give you another option in order to counter that. That would be like one small nerf or effect that could influence this in the long run. They could also, like if you look at Temple of Anubis, and you're pushing the second point, the final capture point, if you're approaching from the attacker's standpoint, you come up that main aisle, there's a relatively large wall on your left. It's roughly the height of a Roadhog or a Reinhardt, and it's tucked back in a corner where you can get a Bastion in there. And I've tried. There's no line of sights that I can find on it. You can get to an upper ledge, you can get the upper overlook with the main arch, cannot see it. If the Bastion's tucked back in far enough, you can't see him from anywhere. You also put your sniper at a serious risk of being counter-sniped up there. There's another like pillar column off on the far right. You can get up on that, and you can maybe just see Bastion's nose if he's not all the way back in, but just the nose of his gun depending on how he's looking. You can get on, there's a lower box ledge below that pillar you can get onto. Again, you can kind of maybe just catch the corner of him, but it's not enough to counter snipe him. And that's a Bastion. If you put a Torbjorn turret back there, that's even smaller. You're never going to see it. So they could do map redesigns, lower that wall, cut that wall in half, lower that wall down. Now, a Widowmaker or Hanzo on the main arch would be able to see down in there and counter snipe that Bastion. So you could open it up through map changes. But again, there's an easier solution. Add another game mode. We know competitive mode's coming, and maybe they'll do this. Maybe competitive mode will have hero stacking and quick play won't, or vice versa. But why not just give us the option when you select quick play? Hit quick play, and I know the whole concept of quick play is one click and it starts matchmaking. But give us a little preferences option that we can select and say, I would prefer a game mode with no hero stacking. And then it'll go into the matchmaking, and if it can 12 players that are all agree with that, it will prioritize putting them together. You could even have it to the point where you can go in and say, I would prefer no hero stacking. It'll look, and if, say, after 2 minutes it can't find someone, it'll say, hey, we found a match, but it does allow hero stacking. Would you like to join this one? And then the person can evaluate for themselves, yeah, okay, I don't want to sit in queue, I'll play. Or, no, you know what, I'd rather just wait an extra few minutes and then play the game mode I want. I would even say in an ideal world, they would give you more options than that. In an ideal world, they would go so far as to say, you know what, I just want to limit how many of this there are. No more than 2 of any hero, but 1 Bastion that. But now we're getting a little too complicated. That's what the custom game mode is for. And that would actually be another option that they could look into. The custom game mode, if you go into it, there's a lot of really good features there, a lot of great modifiers that you can put in. This could work great for creating a non-stacking game mode. The problem is you need to have basically 12 people ready to play in order to create one of these. And I got quite a few people on my friends list that play Overwatch, but there's never more than about 8 or 9 of us online at any one time. So another possible solution would be set it up where there's like a server browser, but a custom game browser, where I can create a custom game and say, look guys, I am limiting it to only 1 Bastion, 1 Torbjorn, 1 Symmetra. do you want to join? And then people could browse through and say like, oh, here's one that's running these game mode settings and join into it and everything. You know, a browser for custom game modes would be another possible solution for this. It doesn't, hero stacking doesn't need to go away. It doesn't need to be completely removed. You just need to give the players that don't want to deal with the hero stacking, that find it more enjoyable when there's 6 different heroes on each team, you need to give them the ability to play that game mode easily, because that's when the game, at least for some of us, myself, is most enjoyable. Alright, well that's my thoughts on hero stacking. Hopefully that made sense. It doesn't need to go, just give us the options. Until next time though, this has been Paller. Thanks for watching.